Hey there, rock stars. Thank you so much to all of you who provided feedback on the vlog last week. How to have confidence during COVID. Frankly, we've been talking about this crisis of confidence. Nobody wants to talk about it, but we blew the doors off of it last week and we talked about how you're now consciously incompetent, and that's exactly where you should be. If you haven't seen that video yet, you can check it out. We've provided a link in both the notes here as well as you'll see that link above. And for those of you who watched it and wanted more about the concept of rent, that is what we're talking about today. Because, for example, an amazing frontline healthcare provider said, this last stretch has been particularly grueling. I've been deflated. I preach to mitigate every day, and now I just need to find out a way to give myself enough self-care to elevate, to keep going. Your impromptu session in your sweats made something click for me. Maybe it was the sweats. I'm actually wearing pants with a button today, so I'm super fancy. But hey, if it was the sweats, I'll get into sweats next time. You tell me if this is better. I was also appreciative some of you as business owners were sharing with me that you decided to have this as a discussion point at your masterminds and to see if in fact there's some value of opening up a conversation with your leaders. Is anyone else feeling unconfident as a leader? We can talk about this because here's the Coles Notes, everybody. If you didn't watch the video and you don't have time, it's only 12 minutes, but still, here's the Coles Notes. For those of you who watched it, let's just all get back onto the same page. It is exactly expected because none of us have lived, loved, or led during a pandemic. Unless you're 120 years old, this is all new. So you don't have to know how to deal with it. But this is the concept of, let me just get this out of the way. This is the concept we're talking about today. We get to rent this experience. We don't have to own it. Rents, oh my gosh. My marker is even drying out. That is how long it has been since I have facilitated a retreat or training in this barn. Pretend this is really crisp. Okay. Rent, own. Let's think about this for a second. If you rent a place, you probably have some furniture that somebody handed down. You likely don't paint the walls. You may not even have to shovel the driveway. If you own it, you have a mortgage, sure, but you got a chance to make decisions, and it's the long-term plan. You paint the walls, you do the renovations. And here's the thing. A lot of us passionate business owners, leaders, professionals and individual contributors, we have a lot that we take seriously, as we should. We have accountability. We're passionate about what we do. We give it our all. We've worked hard to build our competency over time, going to conferences and reading books and studying. And so we have a lot of ownership of our professional value and contribution. The reality is, this is a time where we need to be renters to some extent. We do not know how all of these things that we've worked hard to cultivate, not all of them translate. The books that you've been reading, the leadership books, the change books, and so forth, some of them were not designed for this situation. You have to put a few paint swatches on the wall to figure out, in this light, what you want to actually paint that entire wall. Rather than painting the entire place, you picked the color before, it may not fit now. And so here's the permission I want you to give yourself. If you need permission from somebody else, you got it from me. Some of the things that you're experimenting with, that you're trying on now, may only be temporary. And here's the great thing about this having mutual benefit. Some of the things that you owned are serving you well right now. And you may have to tweak it, course correct it, try it out, but you get to just try things out. That is the permission that we talked about in the last vlog, is that your conscious incompetence is that you now know what you don't know, and you know you have a few skills you can try, and it is okay to be experimenting right now. Yes? Yes. And when you're in that experimentation mode, you may decide you have some things you want to bring forward when all of this kooky time is over. Not that we're ever out of change. This protracted period of change in every aspect of our life, that is not going to be quite as intense at some point. You may figure some things out that you want to own long term, that if had it not been for COVID, you maybe didn't realize. Here's an example. If there were a McVannell plot, it would say, here lay hardworking people. You know what that gives you in a pandemic? Burnout. Not once, but twice. Us McVannells don't always learn our lesson the first time around. We sometimes need a do-over. 2 burnouts, it means that although this intense passion and commitment in my business and this love, you may be able to tell that from my voice here, this love for what I do, I gotta sometimes pump the brakes a little bit because there's only so much of me to go around. I'm figuring out some things in my business though that will be better on the other side of this. When it comes to well-being, I've always practiced self-care around, I had yoga classes, twice a week I do dance, dinners with the family every day. Well, as soon as COVID hit, dance classes canceled, the yoga studio, well, you don't want to be that close to everybody. And of course, it's closed. So I couldn't do those things. It's just now, as I'm experimenting with this super open schedule, what do I want to put back in it? And you know what I realized? There's only one out of those 2 dance classes that I actually really enjoy and I want to do. So I am building that back into my ownership because that is who I am. You know what I won't be doing though? You know what I've been renting and I'm going to keep renting it? Is this open schedule. How many of us have thought about how much quieter our Christmas holiday season? Wasn't it nice not having a cold that knocked you out over your time that you finally had a vacation? It was pretty great, right? Maybe we've been renting some of these things around masks and hand hygiene, like everybody having hand sanitizer at every entrance. I bet you a lot of us are going to own that. Similarly with remote work. Not all of us were prepared or even wanted to work remotely. And yet there are businesses, some of you will be in that camp of thinking about, how do we have a blended workforce? Maybe we're all going to stay remote. Maybe we can't wait to all get back together, but maybe the retreat that we usually have is going to now be virtual so that everybody coast to coast can participate. This is a time of experimentation. This is also a time of great compassion if you allow yourself and allow you to have it for other people. And this is the beautiful thing. Compassion and curiosity and recognition of your greatness and the greatness in others allows you to figure out and dance with the rent ownership cycle. I hope you found this helpful. Remember, my friends, you are already greatness. You may not know exactly what you need to have a successful leading, loving, and leading and living through COVID. You have all of the ingredients, though, to be healthy and happy and successful in life. You may not have the ingredients, the formula exactly mapped out, but keep experimenting because your greatness is there. It is delicious. It is worth the effort and it is worth figuring it out. If you have further questions, comments on this video, something else you'd like to see, as you can see, we're getting real time, real stuff. I will buy better markers next time. Tell me what else you need. And if you think this video would be helpful for others, please forward it because we are in this together. Thank you, my friend.